very difficult sometimes for straight people to understand individuals that have come out and have a different mindset and how you change that. We use very confrontive stuff. We use transparency. You got to be honest. You got to be a lot of stuff. And a lot of people want to do the everybody the feel good thing, but sometimes that doesn't work. You got to monitor your people. You got to know what they're doing, and you got to give them. You got to give them an opportunity to get something real. They don't want to, you got to get more than McDonald's. You can't live in New London, on a minimum wage. So, we need real jobs. We need real places where that person can grow to.
But you got to remember, reentry starts as soon as a guy enters the prison.
Oh, exactly.
That means within the prison, you got to deal with the problems of an individual. If you have an institution that has 80 to 90% of the people in there with substance abuse problems, if you don't have drug rehabilitation programs,
real ones, yeah, real ones,
then you're faking it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
You're faking it. It's a game. And once you get a man through the drug program, that isn't the only solution. I mean, you have to get him educated. You have to take an individual, bring him you're going to confine him, then you've got to bring him into the prison system. You've got to give him a barrage of tests. You've got to find out what his vocational skill levels are, what his education skill levels are, what his problem is, how did he become this type of person. And then you've got to assist him to study that, help him, show him the tools to rehabilitate himself. Now, once he goes out of the prison, now that's a whole other set of reentry concepts. Now you have to place to house them.
Right.
You have to, like, when I get out, one of the big problems was identification. In order to get a driver's license in Massachusetts, you have to have 3 sets of IDs. Duh. Where am I supposed to get 3 sets of IDs? I just got out of prison. I don't have any IDs at all. And the amazing thing is when I had the prison ID card that had my picture, my name, and the car number. I mean, who is going to give you a fake prison ID? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And there's no problem calling in saying, whose number was such and such.
And I got Bobby here, right?
Right.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's a valid ID, but
right.
It wasn't accepted.
It wasn't accepted.
It's a big game. What has to be done, and you can't expect the prisoner to do this on his own.
That should be done right as you're coming out.
Before when you walk out the door, you got paperwork.
You got paperwork.
You have mass help. You have all that stuff.
It should be right there.
Once you've done at least 5 years in a prison system, you're incapacitated. Your ability to do these things on your own is severely wiped out. You just can't do it. And I tell people this story. It's kind of funny, but this is the sad truth. In the prison system, they had one white toothbrush that you could buy from the canteen. It had a soft bristle, a medium bristle, and a hard bristle. But it was one white toothbrush. And for 20 years, that's what I brushed my teeth with. When I come out, my brother and sister-in-law brought me to the CVS to buy shaving gear and stuff and to pick out a toothbrush. There were 2 shells. They had to be at least 10 feet long, every shape, color, size, and different heads on the toothbrush. I was incapable of picking out a toothbrush. I had no idea what this stuff meant, what that handle shape was, what those different heads on a toothbrush did, and what you would use them for, or even how to use them, right? And I had told my sister-in-law, I said, Lo, just grab me any one of them that's a medium bristle. And she looked and says, oh, Bobby, these are medium bristles here. So I looked over there, and I mean, it's an area this big, and the same thing, all color, shape, and size. I was incapable of picking out that toothbrush. Same thing with getting a wallet. Same thing with shopping.
Oh, the food story. I love the food.
I would go
you could
down
eat
the
everything,
aisle
right? I love that one.
And have a basket
right,
full of food. And I bought it in the concept of, I can eat that. I could eat that. Ew, I don't want that stuff. I can eat that stuff. and I filled the basket that way. I had a huge basket full of food, but I couldn't make a meal.
Nothing related to one another, right?
Right,
Yeah.
because I lost those skills.
Right,
You made the meals 7 days a week for me.
right,
I didn't know how to do that,
right.
you know? And that's why it's so important, is that you rehabilitate a person in jail, and you got to stop doing that. You can't take a person to jail. It's like, okay, in the prison I was in, you wore scrubs. That meant there was no zipper. There was no belt. You just pull the things up, or you pull the things down.
Yeah, that's it.
I got out in November, and I can't tell you how many times I stepped out of the house and cold breeze between the legs. So, oh, God. And it's really embarrassing, you know, you just keep forgetting. Yeah, it's more than just pulling the pants up, you got to pull the zipper.
You got to zip it and pull up and all.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just, and then stuff happens is that in a prison environment, you protect your space. I mean, there are dangerous people around you, and you keep people at a certain distance. You get out, and the subway train door opens up, and boom, all of a sudden you're surrounded with a crowd of people. Instant panic attack. You know, and you're not prepared for that. It's a shocking experience. You know, and then you wonder why people, you know, get in trouble and come back. And this is what I explained to legislators, is I said, look, I got a bachelor's degree in prison when you were capable of getting them.
Yeah,
you can't get them today.
Not anymore.
All right. In Walpole Prison, I got a bachelor's degree, majored in sociology. Today, you're lucky if you can get a GED. All right. But the thing is, you know, I'm 66 years old now. I have spent over 2/3 of my life in some form of confinement, from reform schools to state prison. All right. Saw it all. You know, been around the block. Man, I've been around the block so many times you can't believe it. But here's the situation. I know how to rob banks. I know how to rob on my cars. Been there, done it. All right? But I also know how to keep your kid out of jail. I know how to talk to a kid that's going down the streets that I went down. And keep in mind, this kid can fool somebody that came from suburbia. You can't bullshit me. I've been there, done it. The game you're running on me, I ran a long time ago on social workers. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I have the tools, the ability, the field experience to deal with this kid. You have a law that, what they call in Massachusetts, the Corey laws, is I can't work with vulnerable, high-risk population. That means I can't keep your kid up to jail. And like I explained to the legislature, you know, exactly what is it you want me to do. I can't get a home. I can't get a job. You want me keeping your kids off the street, or you want me robbing your banks and army cars? I am not going to starve in the street. I have to survive hook or crook. I have the skills to be a law-abiding, productive citizen, but you won't let me be that. You're insisting that I go back to jail. And this is the problem, is people are coming into the streets, and the road to hell is paved with good intentions, as you know.
I certainly do.
And this is the problem. People come out with all the best intentions in the world, but are rejected by society, rejected by the community.
Yeah.
And the community has got to turn that around. And it's the community's duty and responsibility to say, listen, these are your brothers, sisters, fathers, uncles, brothers, cousins, your next door neighbors. You got to bring them back into the community as law-abiding, productive citizens, and build your community. Not isolate, annihilate, ostracize, castrate your fellow human being.
You want stand-up politicians. We know that for that to happen, we need strong politicians that are going to stand up and do it. And,
well, okay, point. You know, what we really need is we need the community to get involved. It's the community who puts the politician in the office.
Right.
And if the politician is not serving the constituency, then the community should throw that clown out of office. But whether he's strong, but we don't even have to play with the politician. We need the community to say, enough is enough. Stop making people worse than when they went into the prison, then dropping them into the community.
Fix it.
Fix it.
Fix it.
And the community has to get involved in prison.